Hello, YouTube divers. This is WaterDive122, and I want to welcome you all back to another episode of the podcast for high school sports all across Western North Carolina. Now, I apologize for this late video here. This is basically going to be a huge video-ish. Today, we are going to be talking about the Brevard volleyball team and the Brevard football team, both having amazing weeks, or at least amazing games. The football team went to Morganton to take on the Patton Panthers, and they won 41-20. And the volleyball team won the regular season conference title for the Mountain Foothills Seven Conference. All that is coming up in this episode, so here we go. So, the first thing we're going to be talking about is the volleyball team. Brevard volleyball has been an amazing tradition to watch over the last few years. And I've said this time and time again on this channel, they were literally just 2 years removed from a near state title championship season. They were on the rise. They have an extremely young team, in which consisting of only three seniors on the entire roster. Two of them actually play, but they don't start. And they were coming into the game against Polk County hungry. Now, Brevard did lose a tough road matchup against the North Henderson Knights, causing the Knights to win this regular season series against the Blue Devils. Which is sad, but I guess it is what it is. One could say. But overall, Brevard still has had a fantastic regular season, and they are going to be a playoff contender. And after they beat Polk County by a final score of 3-0, Brevard won the regular season title, and they finished the regular season with a very impressive 14-5 record. Which is first place, as I said, in the Mountain Foothills 7. Now, obviously, we got some conference tournament action before the state playoffs happen for the varsity team. JV, I think they've only lost 2 games this season. I forget how many games they've won this season, but they've lost like maybe 1 or 2 games, I can't really recall right now, but, the JV team was absolutely amazing this season, as they usually are. Which gives hope for the future, because, only, and as I said, only 2 seniors we only have 2 seniors on this entire roster, and that is Kiara Riddle and Amaya Harris, who both, and of course the manager, who is the legendary Chloe Huggins. Who's led an incredible team, along with head coach Corey Bryson. I've already talked about this in a previous video that I did. In the previous volleyball video that I did, you could go watch that if you want to. I'll put it in the Podcast for High School Sports all across Western North Carolina playlist if I hadn't already. Things will settle on from there. Now, volleyball, as I said, had an amazing season this year, and it's like I said when I was recapping the Brevard Patton game, the senior night game. If you have a team this young, and you win 14 games and only lose 5, and have the potential to make a deep state championship run, state playoff run rather, you're obviously doing something right when it comes to the coaching side, when it comes to the chemistry side, when it comes to the team building side, when it comes to everything in the sports world. And our volleyball team has impressed me more ways than one this season, and I could not be more proud of these girls. And honestly, if you've seen my coverages of this team, this is a really fun team to watch. I mean, yeah, sure, they can make their own mistakes. I mean, then again, everybody does. We're all human. We're not perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect game. But this team is just so fun to watch, whether it's the Spike Queen of Mackenzie Baldridge, um, the heavy hitter serves of Ty Case, the red hot determination from Abby Pace or Ansley Banyard. It's just really great. It's just really, really great to watch. And again, I could not be more happy and more proud of this team. Um, when it comes to Brevard's football team, it's a little bit the other way around. Like with the volleyball team, they're pretty young. They have more seniors on the football team than they did last season. So I was expecting them to be pretty good. And they beat Robbinsville, and then they followed that up with 3 consecutive losses to Asheville, Irwin, and RS Central, respectively. And then they go out and absolutely pummel the East Henderson Eagles, and then they get pummeled against the Chase Trojans, and then they play against the Patton Panthers, and they win 41-20. Now, in retrospect, the Panthers aren't really a good football team. They did allow over 200 rushing yards and God knows how many touchdowns. I mean, how many rushing touchdowns from Brevard. Joe Powell had an efficient night on the ground. He was decent in the air. Two completions for two completions out of 4 passes for 17 yards and an interception. I mean, it's just kind of meh. But thankfully, junior quarterback Anson Burgess did get to see some playing time, and even sophomore quarterback Colt Swicegood also got to see some playing time. But he only had 1 passing attempt, and it was incomplete, so didn't matter. Now, Anson Burgess, talk about an amazing game, or at least an amazing return to form, because he got injured in the Robbinsville game with a broken collarbone. He was out. I was very convinced that he was going to be out for the rest of the season, but no, he came back today, and he picked up right where he left off. Didn't throw an interception. Threw a touchdown pass to Jalen Carver, who I will talk about in just a second. But the main story here is Brevard's running backs, specifically Caleb Jenkins and Nishawn Griffin. Now, Nishawn Griffin had scored touchdowns in 2 straight games. He had one against East Henderson and one against Chase. One of 2 touchdowns Brevard had against Chase. He scored another one today. He might have scored 2. I can't really remember right now, but I know he did score a touchdown. Caleb Jenkins also finding the end zone. Joe Powell finding the end zone twice on the ground. I think Garrett Swicegood might have also had a touchdown. I don't know. Or at least I don't remember. But yes, the main story was Brevard's rushing game came to life. And plus now we got Nathan Stockton back. That's basically the whole band of running backs back together. Now, Jacob Stockton, Nathan Stockton's brother, is more of a defensive guy than a running back, but that's neither here nor there. The rushing game finally came alive in Brevard's win against Patton. And Joe Powell is even an efficient runner. He kind of reminds me of Patrick Mahomes when he's running the ball. If that even makes sense. But all of Brevard's running backs had at least over 30 yards rushing, which in high school is pretty much an accomplishment right there. Now, receiving-wise, Kyle Lovett was pretty much a no-show. Today, in Brevard's win against Patton, it was the Jalen Carver show. Now, I always viewed Jalen Carver as a nice number 2 wide receiver threat behind Kyle Lovett. And my oh my, was this his coming out moment. 5 receptions for 120 yards and 1 touchdown. He might have had 2. I know he did have a 60-yard receiving touchdown from Anson Burgess. But yeah, that was amazing. And this is this, and like I said, this was really Carver's coming out moment as a player. And I feel like that if he could continue this level of dominance entering his senior season, Brevard's going to have a scary good wideout again. He's going to be Kyle Lovett 2.0. Now, Kyle Lovett, he started off his season very strong. Had three or four straight games with him crossing the 100-yard mark. Now, over these past couple of games, however, he's been a little bit ineffective, and this past game against Patton, he was pretty much a no-show. But, that's fine, because it paved the way for other Brevard wide receivers such as Sammy Kessinger and the aforementioned Jalen Carver to get in on the action. And, Brevard took care of business in Morganton for their road finale. And honestly, I'm thankful that this team doesn't have any more road games because this season, Brevard has not been efficient on the road. This is their first road win of the season. They finished the season 1-3 on the road, and 2-2 at home for that matter. Now, this Friday, Brevard has a huge, and I mean huge, homecoming conference game against the Hendersonville Bearcats, who, let's be honest here, is probably the best 2A team in all of Western North Carolina right now. They have just looked so good time and time again. I mean, that quarterback wide receiver duo of Gavin Gosnell and Eric Rashid is... I've watched a lot of highlights of North Carolina high school football, or at least Western North Carolina high school football, and those two just look absolutely unstoppable, especially over in Hendersonville. Now, Hendersonville has had a lot of home games this season. Thankfully, this game is in Brevard, so I feel like home field advantage should help the Blue Devils a little bit. But with this defense, I am not really sure that they will be able to stop Hendersonville's high-flying offense. The rushing defense has been exposed pretty much all season, dating back to the very first game against Robbinsville. We allowed 470 yards rushing against RS Central. We allowed God knows how many yards to the Asheville Cougars and to Irwin Warriors. We have just not been really good against the run this season. And recently our passing game is starting to get picked on, which is even scarier, especially considering that we got to put our best corner on Eric Rashid most likely, which is... I've been watching this team all season, and I love the team. I really do. I am just so nervous about how this defense is going to be playing. They better have a solid game plan. They better know exactly what they're doing. They better come to Brevard Memorial Stadium and play their absolute hearts out. It would be amazing if Brevard would pull off the upset against the Hendersonville Bearcats, especially considering this is our homecoming night. And we can't let the Bearcats ruin our homecoming night. Franklin almost ruined our homecoming night last year, and goodness gracious, you dodged a bullet there, Panthers, because if you won on our field that night, I swear, I would not be a happy dude right now. Or at least then, but, that's neither here nor there. So yeah, the Bearcats, they're a tough team. They are an extremely tough team. To be honest with you, with the way that Brevard has been playing this season, on paper, lots of people would have Hendersonville favored to win this game. And honestly, I gotta be honest. Gotta be very honest. I don't blame them. Now, of course I want the Blue Devils to win. Of course I do. I'm not trying to say that, I'm jumping ship and I'm going to join the enemy. Pfft. Who in the world does that? Brevard has just been picked on time and time again. They're 3-4 right now. And Hendersonville is like 7-1. So record-wise, Hendersonville is definitely favored. But, when the way that these two teams have been playing, it's just extremely unbelievable here. It's just who knows? Who knows? Who knows? And then next week, Brevard has a senior night game against the Polk County Wolverines. We'll talk more about that in another episode. And of course, the Brevard High School marching band will be performing with at the Brevard College football game. The Tornadoes will be taking on Southern Virginia. I believe they're the Spartans. I could be wrong about that, but who knows? That's neither here nor there. And I will be talking about that event in another episode. So, with that said, that wraps up everything I want to get out of the way as of right now. So, with that said, thank you so much for watching, my fellow YouTube divers. This is WaterEye 122 signing out, ready to dive into more fun on YouTube. Thanks for watching.